Hey, hi everybody. I wanted to check in with you and do some housekeeping stuff, and then we can talk a little bit about how the first week went and what to expect during week 2 of our course. So I want to start with some housekeeping things in the line of number one is that a few of you have tried responding to my emails and to sending me emails with a personal email. And I apologize, but I am unfortunately not allowed to correspond with you through personal emails. It's just a school policy. So when you write to me through a personal email, I'm not going to respond to those. I'm reading them, I'm getting them, but I just cannot respond. So if you could, please jump onto your student email and talk to me through there. You also should be checking your student email pretty regularly anyways, because if I need to contact you, that's how I will do so, is I will send you an email to your University of Maryland email. So just please make sure that you're using those pretty regularly. Also, I don't know if you were aware, but another quick way to kind of correspond and talk to one another is if you log into our Leo classroom, you should see at the very, very top, you've got like the dark blue bar at the top where it has like our course up on the top left, and you'll see like your name up on the top right. And in front of your name are 3 different buttons. So you've got one button that has like an envelope which says message alerts. And that's where I kind of think of this as like IM, if you know what IM is. It's like quick messenger and being able to kind of shoot messages back and forth really quickly. The middle button is like a notepad, like with a pen. It's for announcements. So like when I make a new announcement, it'll send you a notification there, and that way you can make sure you check that new announcement. And then on the right hand side is subscription alerts. So when you subscribe to like a discussion board, that will light up for you and let you know that there's a new comment under a particular discussion board, or I think even a particular thread too, which is great. Because it's really important for you to make sure you respond to people that leave comments to you on your threads. But as I was saying, in order to have quick communication with one another, if you have a really quick question or something for me, you're welcome to send me a message through there too, under that envelope, and I'll get those, and that's a little bit quicker, but email works just as fine as well, so whatever you prefer. I unfortunately don't feel very comfortable giving out my number. I know some instructors do that. I just have had some pretty negative experiences with it. It's not really something I want to try right now at the moment. Maybe something for the future, but I think I respond to email pretty quickly, so that tends to be a very effective form of communication. Another thing I wanted to mention was that you are being graded on participation, and so you may not see the participation grade go in immediately. It is going to be going in there. And participation includes your login history. So if you're logging in frequently, or if you're really not logging in at all, Leo does show me how many times you log in, even how many times a day you log in, and for how long that you're staying in the classroom. And so this means, that you're watching the video tutorials, that you're going through the content, that you're completing your assignments. But another big part of the participation grade is discussion boards. And so these are really not optional. And several of you are starting to fall behind on those, and we're only in week 1. So, I don't mean to kind of be like clucking behind you like a hen, but I do want to make sure that everybody understands that they are a requirement. And even though they will not be graded weekly, altogether, I am keeping track of what you're doing in those. And so each week we have discussion boards. And as I mentioned, the requirements for discussion boards are going to be under the tab content. When you're underneath content on the left-hand side, you will see syllabus. You will click on syllabus. You'll see that the syllabus is there for you. And underneath the syllabus, you're going to see an item called discussion board requirements. And I have very extensive instructions there for what I expect for discussion boards. And it does state that your initial post under all the discussion boards is due by Wednesdays. So I do look out for those. By Thursday morning, I'm starting to check to make sure everybody got their initial thread in on time. And if you have not done that, then you're going to start losing some pretty big points on that. So I just kind of want to make sure that we avoid that happening, because I think that that's pretty fairly simple to get those in, and then to make your comments. It shouldn't be anything that's too intense. And then your comments to your classmates are due by Sundays. And so if there's any questions you have about those, please make sure you ask me. I'm happy to help. I have no issue answering questions. If something doesn't make sense, by all means, let me know and I can clarify. Some of you seem to be struggling with where you find like the coursework and the assignments. It's under the same area we were, where you click on content. And when you're on the left-hand side, you're going to see everything under content. So you're going to see each week broken down, where it says week 1, beginning to write. Week 2, comparing and contrasting. Week 3, coherence and writing. It tells you the dates and everything. Okay, so you're going to be working under each particular week that we're in. And everything you need for that week is located in there. The submission links for assignments and all that good stuff. So if we talk about week 1, you will see that this week you had different things to do. You had different notes to look at, lecture notes, you had some videos. There were 2 different discussion boards that were required, not just one, there were 2. Some of you did great on one, but it seems like you forgot that there was a second one there. And then finally, you had your personal narrative rough draft, which is due by the end of the day today, because it's Sunday, February 5th. So that rough draft is very important that you get that in. Rough drafts are also something that are not optional, they are required. So even though I'm not grading rough drafts, I am including the rough draft into your final grade. So if you turn in your final paper but you never submitted a rough draft, I am going to remove some points from that, just because rough drafts are extremely important. Not only are they going to help me to make sure that you're on the right track, but they're extremely helpful for you in the fact that I leave you as much feedback as I possibly can, and that feedback allows you to improve your final draft to get the best overall grade that you can and to make sure that you understand. So please, please make sure if you have not gotten in your personal narrative rough draft that you do so immediately. I believe 11:30 is going to be the cutoff for the due date. Anything submitted after that will eventually lose points. In regards to rough drafts, I don't grade them. I will grade the final draft, of course, but the rough drafts I don't grade. What I do is I read through them, and for that, I just leave you some pretty extensive feedback. So you should be able to see your feedback. When you click on the assignment link, I think under your grades, but I'll double check on that. You should be able to open it up and you should see the written feedback that I've left you. So for right now, that's all you're going to get is some written feedback. I'll give you suggestions for improvement. I'll let you know what's working well, what isn't working well. And then when you do your final draft, for this one will be in week 3, I will not only mark the essay up, but I should be able to leave you an audio comment where you can hear me talking about your essay, and I will leave you even more extensive feedback from that as well. And I'll use a rubric to grade your essay as well. Okay, so that's kind of as far as like housekeeping stuff goes and what we were doing during week 1. So far as the discussion boards go, those who are participating properly seem to be doing a great job. You're following the instructions for the most part. You're leaving some really helpful comments to one another, which I appreciate and I know your classmates appreciate. And I think my only comment with those is just to make sure that you put in your best effort in your initial threads. So, leaving things like, oh, I don't know about this one. I didn't do that part. It's not really helpful. So make sure that you don't complete your thread until you're positive you have all the information that you need for that initial thread. Okay. So I think that's pretty much everything in regards to week 1. If we are to look at week 2, which begins technically at midnight, let's click on week 2 here, which is comparing and contrasting. Again, you're going to have different notes that you want to look at. There's videos that help you understand how to do a compare and contrast essay, video tips for success. You got, again, 2 discussion boards. Please remember to make sure your initial threads are in by Wednesday. And then you will learn APA format and working with sources. You're going to have a grammar quiz, which is run-on sentences and sentence fragments. And I believe that next week, yes, your rough draft of Essay 2 is due. Okay, so your rough draft of your compare and your contrast will be due a week from today. So I know things kind of move fast, but that is an 8-week course. Things go pretty quickly. And then I am doing my absolute best to look through all your rough drafts and to get your feedback back to you as quickly as possible. All right. I believe that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over. So far, other than what I've mentioned, we're all moving ahead steady. We're doing a really nice job. If I have any concerns, I will message you directly. And so just keep an eye out in your student emails. And otherwise, keep chugging along. You're doing excellent. And as always, I am here if you need me at any point. All right, I hope you guys have an excellent week too.